Here, our goal is to determine the size of angle X. Notice that angle X is here, and notice that we can form an F shape. Here, we have an F shape. Now, what does an F shape indicate? Here, it says that we can often spot corresponding angles by drawing an F. And notice here is a pair of corresponding angles. So W and W, which means that corresponding angles are equal. And so corresponding angles can be spotted by using corresponding angles can be identified, or corresponding angles can be spotted by using or by drawing an F shape. And we know that corresponding angles are equal in measure. Here is another corresponding angle. Notice the F. And here, notice that this angle is equal to this angle. And so that means when we come here, we notice the F. Here we have a parallel line. We have a parallel line and the transversal cuts them. And so notice that this is 85 degrees. And notice that angle X is here, which means that angle X and this angle whose side is 85 degrees are corresponding angles. So these two angles are corresponding angles, which means that if this angle is 85 degrees, that means that X is also 85 degrees because corresponding angles are equal in measure. Let's move on to the next question. Here, remember that X is 85 degrees, but they want us to figure out what is the size, or they want us to figure out what is the size of angle Y. How can we determine the size of angle Y? Notice this useful geometrical rule. It states angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Notice that here we have two angles on a straight line. Here we have angle X, we have angle Y, and they are on a straight line at a common point. Indeed, angle X and angle Y must add up to 180 degrees according to this useful geometrical rule, which means that if we want to figure out or if we want to determine the size of angle Y, we're going to say 180 degrees minus 85 degrees, and 180 minus 85 is equal to 95 degrees, which means that the size of angle Y is 95 degrees. So 180 minus 85 is 95 degrees. And so that means that the size of angle Y is 95 degrees. Let's move on to the next question. Here, we know from our previous questions that the size of X is 85 degrees. And we know from our previous question that the size of Y is 95 degrees. Now we need to determine the size of angle Z. Notice that angle Z is here. Here, we notice a useful geometrical rule, which states that angles inside a quadrilateral add up to 360 degrees. Again, angles inside a quadrilateral add up to 360 degrees. So if we have a quadrilateral, the interior angles of the quadrilateral must add up to 360 degrees. Now, what is a quadrilateral? Well, a quadrilateral is a shape that has four sides. And so if we notice here, it's a polygon that has four sides. And so if we notice here, we have one side, we have two sides, we have three sides, and we have four sides. So this is indeed a quadrilateral. And according to our geometrical rule, it states that these angles inside of this quadrilateral must add up to 360 degrees, which means that if we were to figure out the size of angle Z, we have to first add up these angles, 85 degrees, 95 degrees, and 112. We have to add them up. And then once we add them up, we're going to subtract their sum from 360 degrees. And that's how we're going to get angle Z. So let's do that. We have that. Let's erase this. We have that Z is equal to 360 degrees minus 95 degrees plus 85 degrees plus 112. So our first order of business is to add these three numbers. So we have 95 plus 85 plus 112. Let's add them. When we add them, we get 292. And so what we have here is 360 degrees minus 292 degrees. And when we subtract them, we get that Z is equal to 68 degrees, which means that the size of angle Z is 68 degrees.